many of your assignments, you've been asked to use peer-reviewed articles to help support your arguments. And I've noticed that some of you seem to have a little bit of difficulty identifying whether an article is peer-reviewed or not, and I'm not sure if you're all even familiar really with what peer review means. So I thought I'd just take a quick moment to familiarize you a little bit with peer review and help you understand how to figure out if a journal is peer-reviewed or not. And a little bit of this information is going to come from this senseaboutscience.org website that you can see here on the screen that describes a little bit about peer review. And what that is essentially is the system that scientists have for assessing the quality of research before it gets published. And what happens is that researchers who are doing research conduct their studies, then they write them up, do their theoretical background, describe the methods that they used, the results that they've analyzed, and their conclusions based on those. And then, based on that, they go through and submit that to the journal. The journal then makes it what they call blind, so there's no identifying information about who wrote the article, and then sends it out to reviewers. And these reviewers are from a big pool of experts in the field, other people doing research in that field. And then they review the article. They say, was this study conducted well? Were these good methods to use to answer this question? Were the results appropriate? Were the analyses done correctly? Do the results justify the conclusions they make? So all of those things are important, and then they recommend whether this study should be published or not, and the editors of the journal then take those recommendations and decide whether to accept the article or not. So the point is that articles that have gone through peer review have been judged to be good based on from other experts in the field. So it cuts down on the amount that you have to be saying this is a good article or not, and it establishes that if they've found this, it's a valid conclusion. So you're going to want to wonder about things that come out in journals that aren't peer-reviewed, since it is kind of the gold standard of research in science. And you're going to want to think about finding articles that are peer-reviewed. And one of the things that I've written to some of you in feedback is that it's important when you do this that you're looking for not just quotes from and opinions from people who agree with you, but original research that's been done that backs up those opinions. So is it a study? Is it research? Have they used participants and done some experimental thing with them to be able to tell whether this is an appropriate therapy, this is a good approach? All of those things are what we're looking for rather than opinions about things. Now, how do you know if a journal is peer-reviewed? So one way is you can just go and look up the journal. So if you go to Google and type in, say, Journal of Marital and Family Therapy, it will come up and you'll see a description for it. So you'll look it up, and journals that are peer-reviewed are going to say that they're peer-reviewed because that's something that's important. Now, a journal's not going to say it's not peer-reviewed, but if you don't see any mention of peer review, you can assume that it's not peer-reviewed. Now, here's the description of the Journal of Marital and Family Therapy that I know some of you have used. It's published by Blackwell, it has 20,000 subscribers, and there we see JMFT is a peer-reviewed journal which advances the professional understanding of marital and family functioning, etc. So there it is, black and white, it's a peer-reviewed journal. So that is what you're looking for when you go and look for something. Now, I know, for instance, another source that I saw cited was the Therapy Times. So again, we can put Therapy Times into Google and go to that website, therapytimes.com. And if we look around this site, we're going to try to find any reference to peer review. And a good place to look might be some kind of an About Us or a description. So there's an About Us page, and if we look at the About Us page, we see that it says that there are breaking news stories, in-depth feature articles, career development tools, and web-based forums, but no mention of peer review here. And that's pretty much, along with kind of the rest of the look and the feel of this site, going to tell us that this is probably not peer-reviewed. So this is something that was cited in ProQuest, ProQuest does not just have peer-reviewed articles. So if you're asked to look for peer review, think about what that means. Think about looking for research that supports what you say. And definitely feel free to ask me if you're unsure. I will be glad to work with you on helping you figure this out and understand it all. And until then, good luck with your writing.